Will you believe it? A white historian, a white female author says, if I was black, I would be even more successful. I wish I could go back and be a black person. Put up the picture full mass. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Miss Banner, a women's history professor at the University of Southern California, claimed her professional life would have been easier if she was simply a black person. This incident occurred on June 30th at the Berkshire Conference of Women's History at an event Miss Banner co-founded in 1973. According to doctoral student and attendee Stephanie Narrow, let's put it up. She says, well, the Berks plenary just took a turn. A white senior scholar at the 50th anniversary, very publicly and unapologetically, said that she wished she was black so her professional career, her professional life would be easier. Next quote, the individual, Stephanie, wrote again, she was immediately called out for her blatantly racist remarks and refused to apologize, let alone listen to the reason why her remarks were horrifying wrong. You won't change my mind. I'm 84 years old, end quote. Let's put it up. Banner's speech followed Rutgers professor Deborah Gray White and the challenges she faced attaining her current position as a black woman in academia. Keep up her picture, because I want you to understand the context here. You have a white female scholar who is literally responding directly to another scholar who happens to be a black woman. And this black woman is talking about some of the ills, the societal ills, the barriers she faced being a black woman in academia. And instead of either A, understanding that is the truth and experience of this fellow scholar, or B, shutting the hell up if you don't agree, she decided to make her statement public. News One contributor Zach Lindley surmised that it almost sounds like Banner listened to a black woman talk about professional hurdles Banner never faced and responded by implying that not facing those hurdles was the real hurdle. Banner's caucasity clad remarks were made around the same time the US Supreme Court gutted affirmative action, college admissions. Let me give you background on Ms. Banner. This 83-year-old so-called historian who lived through the studied America's segregation era and received a Ph.D. from Columbia University in 1970, less than a full decade after the 1964 Civil Rights Act was signed, has spent literal decades studying marginalized communities. And yet she still believes she has suffered professionally from a lack of black privilege. In response, the Berkshire Conference of Women Historians tweeted, while excluding Banner's name from the tweet, the Berks officers do not condone or support the inappropriate remarks made by one of the speakers tonight. A formal statement from the president will be made after the break. In a follow-up tweet, the organization said, and I quote, "Thank you for those who gave their time, thoughts, and input at the meeting today. The board and trustees listened, took careful notes, and are planning action. The conversation is not over, and the board will have a statement and concrete plan of action soon." Now, I appreciate you all saying that, because many times an organization will say, hey, we're going to make a statement, just give us time. We're going to make a statement, we heard everybody. And then people forget that you're supposed to make a statement. I won't. You're gonna make that damn statement and it needs to include the individual who provided the offense to everyone there. Does not make sense. That this woman has an entire Ph.D., has engaged in the study of historically marginalized communities, and then would besmirch not only a fellow colleague, but in the process, an entire movement in a speech at a conference dedicated to doing just the opposite. All right, dear brother, what are your thoughts?
She sounded like she just jaded because she like wasn't famous or like as widely celebrated as she would have liked to have been. Because the scope of what Black people who are celebrated really is not that steep. She's like, well, they write a lot of books about Harriet Tubman and George Washington Carver, and like famous historical figures like that get a lot of attention. But at the end of the day, it's a pull yourself up by the bootstrap type of world. Just do better. Just, look at yourself, look in the mirror. Where are you slacking? Is there any way that you could be more appealing to people? Or are you even judging yourself on things that matter? Because again, it really just kind of seems vain. It's like, well, my name wasn't in enough people's mouth, but that's kind of something that you can't control, and also something that you can choose to care about or not. So, she's 84, but she's acting like a little teenager.
Yeah, Doc, I agree. Here's the thing, madam. You're in your 80s. I would recommend you get right with the Lord.